Alright, here we are. I had to get done my end of the year videos before I got to this. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to make sure they were done. But now it's time. We've made it. Stranger Things has ended with season 5. And I figured I should stop stalling because this is a very hard ranking, because I decided to let's do this and rank all 5 seasons of Stranger Things. And I have to tell you, this is a extremely hard ranking, especially because to me personally, I know not a lot of people disagree with me, I don't think that there is a bad season. Now, there are seasons that are weaker than, there are seasons that have weak moments, but overall, I think every season is at least good, and then we get great, and then we have some of the best seasons of television to ever come out on our screens, with our top 2, which, let's be honest, you guys already know what the top 2 are. But yeah, so I do want to mention too, like, for me, 5 and 4 kept switching, and so does 1 and 2. They keep going back and forth, and I have a hard time deciding which one goes which. I'm going to try my best to make decisions here, but if I'm being completely honest with you, they could change as soon as I hit stop recording and go into editing. So we'll see how this shakes up. Let's start off in last place, although not bad. I have Stranger Things 2. Like I said, I actually do really enjoy this season. This season introduces us to my third favorite character in Max Mayfield, Mad Max herself. And it is the start of one of our great dynamics here with Lucas and Max. It is also where we continue my favorite character's story arc, or character arc, with Steve. I got him right here. Continuing as he becomes an even better person, and we get the beginning of my personal favorite duo in this whole show, Steve and Dustin. At the end of the season, Steve and Dustin are kind of pushed together. Unlikely, there shouldn't be a reason for it. It's just that Dustin has to do with his problem with Dart, his little baby demo dog, and nobody is around. They're all busy doing things, so he has to go with the one guy that knows about this stuff that might be able to help him, that being Steve Harrington, because he happens to run into him when they both try to go to the Wheelers to find either Nancy, well, for Steve to find Nancy, and then for Dustin to find either Nancy or Mike. So that they're forced together, and then they just become, first of all, just the little screen time they have, and them really not interacting much aside from this, because of with their interactions here, with them being kind of at odds, but then Steve gives them advice on hair and advice on girls, and it's just it's the beginning of this awesome pairing that becomes my favorite duo. And when I watched season 1, I would never have guessed that these would be my 1 and 2. Well, Dustin I kind of knew would be up there, but my 1 and 2, and now they become best friends, and now they're my favorite duo. It's awesome. I love it. And then even throughout the show, I do enjoy how we're kind of dealing with the aftermath of the traumatic events of season 1. Although I have some problems with the Barb stuff, shouldn't that have been handled a bit closer to the, why is it taking a whole year for this to happen? But it's still intriguing, and I do like how we're diving into how Nancy feels guilt about this. And I mean, I feel like she would, in a way. She does have a part to play, because she's the one who convinced Barb to go to the party, and then she told her to go home. That way she could go have some fun with Steve, and then she gets killed. And we're introduced to Bob, a great character who I think is really enjoyable in this season. We get some fun moments too. The fights with the Dem Dogs is fun, and sticking on why this is great, I think when we get towards the end of the season, it just gets even better. Bob's death, while kind of frustrating, just because to me it's just well, why did you stop, you dummy? You keep running. It's still emotional. It's because of how much we just love Bob and how painful that his death really is. And I think it's the last 2 episodes, I believe, are just awesome, because back with Bob, that hospital scene when they're in the hospital is great and is thrilling, and then the ending is also awesome and thrilling. I also almost forgot to mention, I also love the ending of the season here with the snowball, and everybody kind of get their own happy ending, where Lucas and Max get to dance. We'll even get someone to dance with. Mike gets to dance with 11, and probably my personal favorite, because my favorite character, Dustin, after being driven there by Steve and doing the hair thing that Steve told him about, tries to look for a dance, isn't able to get one. So when Nancy sees it, who they've kind of showed him having a bit of a crush on it before, offers to dance with him. So also, just almost forgot to mention, I love this moment also in the season. What brings this season down really is Eleven's story. Not just the Lost Sister episode. For me personally, the entire story. I don't know why. My first time watching it, and even the second time watching it, every time we cut to Elle's story, whenever Hopper isn't there, I just found that I was not interested. I was not invested. I don't know why. Because obviously I want answers to the questions of, like, who is Elle's birth parents? How did she get to where she is? But for some reason, I don't know why, whenever Hopper wasn't with her and we cut to Elle, I just was not invested, and I just was kind of bored and could not wait to get back to the other things. Which means that when we got to the Lost Sister episode, I was just, like, so bored. And I just wanted it to be over. And to me, it is probably the only bad episode of Stranger Things. I know there's another episode and another season that a lot of people say is bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. So yeah, that's what really pulls this season down for me, is every time we cut the 11th story, I just found that I did not care, and I don't know why. It makes me sad. But yeah. Alright, let's move on now to number 4, where I got Stranger Things 5. This being the final season. I debated where to put this, if I wanted to put it in last, or if I wanted to put it here. When I first finished watching it, part of me thought about putting it one higher, but then when I thought about the season as a whole, I was like, no, it's one of these two. Just because, as a whole, this season I feel like has a lot of lows. I think it has a very bad pacing issue to me, just because to me it feels like there's so many episodes where we're just kind of like repeating the same thing over and over again, spinning our wheels, just trying to get through these episodes so that way we can have 8 episodes, 8 long episodes, and then we can have an epic payoff finale. And to me, that like it felt like we're repeating the same thing. We're repeating. Battle time. Wait, where'd that come from? And that's kind of like where some of my disappointment came from with the penultimate episode. Is after the season before this, I was expecting, oh, this penultimate episode is going to get me so invested and so wanting to see the finale. Especially because now we can't dive right into the finale. We'll have to wait a week. So they're probably going to leave me with something like so huge that I'm going to be like, I cannot wait for this finale. And they didn't. The penultimate episode did nothing to get me like, let's see this finale. So, which is a shame, because like the first volume felt like a huge event. People came over, we watched it together on a projector. I stayed up late into the night just because I was unable to watch it right away. So we stayed up late into the night. I think like 3:30 a.m. till it was over. So it was a late night. So there's a ton of fun and like that 4th episode, the sorcerer with Will at the end, was insane. So it's like, oh, it's a good thing I stayed up late, because I did not want to spoil this on the internet, because literally the very next day when I was scrolling on any internet, social media, it was everywhere, that ending. So glad that I saw it when I did. But then like after that, it just felt like volume 2 especially, like did not feel like an event anymore. It just felt like, well, now let's just get to the finale, which is a shame, especially because I think the season does have some great moments. Like I think the interaction between Steve and Dustin in the Upside Down in the Hawkins lab, where Dustin's like, I can't lose you too, is just amazing and brought so many tears. And we had the amazing moment in the episode after I think it might have been the penultimate episode this happens, the very beginning, where Max wakes up and Max and Lucas reunite, and it's also just so heartfelt and emotional. But just aside from that, however, that finale, though, I know a lot of people are like, this finale sucks. I really enjoyed it. Now, it's not perfect, obviously. I think that final battle with Vecna is way too fast, and I think the stakes didn't feel nearly as high as they should have in that fight. But it was still enjoyable, and I thought they did a great job at wrapping up everyone's stories, especially that last couple minutes with the final D&D game. I think was the perfect way to end this show. So I think there's a lot of great things in this season, but just when I look at the other seasons, I was like, I feel like overall, although like I feel like the finale I'd probably put up there, it's better than some episodes and some of the seasons higher than this, and and even like certain moments in this are great and probably deserve to be up high, but because I'm looking at the season overall, all 8 episodes together, it's got to be down lower. Okay, next up at number 3, I got Stranger Things 3. This season I think is a blast. This is almost feels like the most, I don't even know how, the most fun season. I don't want to say the most low stakes because the stakes were high, but like I found that it was just a blast. You really get the summer feel of this season. Like I feel like you could just watch this season. You should watch this season like in the summertime, just because it does feel so much like a summer event. It is awesome, and I still have, even though I didn't watch it when it first came out, even I have a bit of nostalgia for that season 3 summer eventness, because even though I wasn't a part of it, I didn't see the show when it aired. I remember it was everywhere. Merch was all over. People on the internet were always talking about it. People around me were talking about how excited they were for the season to drop. So even I have a bit of nostalgia for the season, even though I did not watch it when it first came out. Although now I still have nostalgia because I did eventually watch it. But still, this is just such a fun season throughout. And it's kind of funny. I think I've turned around a bit.
Turn around. Look at what you see.
Because when I first watched this season, I found that every time we got into the relationship drama, I did not care. I was just pulled out and I was just like, can we just get to the supernatural stuff? But upon rewatch, and now that the show's over and we don't have any more moments with the characters, I found that I've warmed up on it. Where now I'm like, well, I'm just glad that I'm being with these characters. And this is a more fun season. We're having fun with them in the summer. So I think I've definitely warmed up on some of that relationship drama. It doesn't mean I love it. I still would have preferred it not be there. But I still now just enjoy it. And it puts a smile on my face. So I've definitely turned around.
Turn around. Look at what you see.
On some of that. And it is, I feel like the goofiest, maybe even cheesiest season. With like, I feel like Hopper kind of acts a bit out of character, but in a way that's funny. Things feel like just so extreme and kind of goofy too, with like some of the Russian stuff. But I don't care because I had a blast with it, and like there's some also great moments. That final episode I think is amazing, with that final battle against the Mind Flayer. There was an intriguing mystery, and that very end with Hopper's letter when we think that he's dead is just so heart-wrenching. When I watched it the first time, I may have been a mess, okay, man? Because it was just so, it is an amazing monologue, like an amazing letter, by the way. Like just that speech is just great. And then with it, it almost felt like it could have been a definitive ending to me, because of how it was working, where the Byers and Elle were moving out of Hawkins. Hopper is gone. The enemy seemed to have been defeated. We find out that we are wrong, but it seems to be defeated. And it is just so heart-wrenching. It is, to me, it's just amazing. And even though I knew that Hopper wasn't actually dead when I first watched it, because, like I said, I was late to the party, so when I eventually watched Season 3 for the first time, Season 4 was already out, and I saw on the internet, because it was all over the internet, that Hopper was alive. So I knew, even though with his sacrifice happening, I knew that he was going to survive, and yet somehow it still is extremely painful. And even when I rewatched it, going into 5, it still hit so hard, even though I knew that he was alive and even where his character was going to go. So I had to put it at least as high, even if it was just for that final episode. And like I said, this is a blast. It just feels like summer. I love it. I don't know how they did such a great job of capturing the summer feel, but it was great. All right, now we get into the top 2, which to me, this is the hardest decision ever. Because to me, these top 2 are 2 of the greatest seasons of television to ever be aired. It's just amazing, both of these seasons. And I kept changing it. If you go back to 2020, 3 or 2024? Now, my first video I ranked them, I think season 1 came out on top. But after that, when I rewatched them, I changed it. But then when I thought about it a little bit longer, I changed it again, and then I changed it again. I just cannot decide. So I want to cheat, and I just want to go 1 and 2 is Stranger Things 1 and Stranger Things 4. But I feel like I'd be cheating, and I can't cheat. Oh, man, this is the hardest decision ever. Keep in mind, this might change as soon as I say it. Just want you to know that, because of how back and forth these two go. Right now, I'm going at number 2, Stranger Things 4. Man, I think this is an amazing season of television. This is just... And I think, even though this is number 2, I honestly think that the best episode of Stranger Things comes from this season. And I think the best moment of Stranger Things, the best moment in television, comes from this season. But again, I'm looking at the seasons overall, not just specific episodes or specific moments. So that's what's going to put it here. First, let's talk about what I decided to put under. And that's just how much is going on. It's just... Everybody is so scattered. There's so much going on. People are like states away from each other. So it just feels like there's a lot going on. Like, did we actually need all the California stuff? I don't know. I'm not a fan of how they decided to go about with Elle in the beginning of her story, with her dealing with the bullying, and then she retaliates against the bully, and somehow that's a bad thing. Maybe she handled it the wrong way, but still, I don't really feel bad. I was just like, yeah, you go, Elle. You smack that bully in the head with this roller skate. Maybe I'm just a bad person. I don't know. Maybe I'm violent. But still. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. But unlike season 2, for example, once she was taken to the Nina Project, I was actually invested in her story. And some of the episodes I feel like are overly long. Like, I'm not sure if every episode needs to be over an hour. But some of them definitely earned it. Like, I feel like obviously there's a episode in this season that's at 2 hours and 30 minutes. That episode to me blows by no problem. But there are some episodes that are just like an hour 15. I'm just like, did we really need all that? Not sure. But like I said, that's all I really have for negatives. And if we go into the positives, this season is just amazing. We're introduced to Eddie, who is a great character. We're introduced... we get a great villain in Vecna. I feel like this season kind of brings back the horror that the first season had, because I feel like was kind of lacking in 3 especially. I guess there's some horror. It was gory, but I didn't feel any fear during those seasons. Like I felt like I could feel my heart starting to race in season 1 a little bit. This season brought that back with Vecna, mainly with his first kill with Chrissy, which you kind of feel sad because I really liked Chrissy. And then she dies in such a just brutal way. Sorry. And it is just... And they do a great job making Vecna very menacing. I like how they added kind of like this through line throughout the seasons, make it feel all connected. They did such a good job at that to me, I felt like this could have been the end of the show again, because that penultimate episode made me so hyped for the finale, and it felt like everything was coming to an end, to the point that I thought that the final episode could have been the end of the whole show. And I even questioned, well, why are we getting a 5th season? I'm still, even afterwards, I feel like you could make the argument that maybe 4 should have ended it, but I'm still overall glad that we did get 5. And like I said, I think this has the best episode, with the finale episode being one of the best episodes of television ever, where I think it was the most I've ever cried at an episode of television, because I was an emotional wreck throughout almost the entire thing, with the death of Eddie and the death of Max. Yes, Max was brought back to life, but she still died, and Lucas's reaction to it was just, oh my goodness. Dustin's reaction to Eddie was so painful. Dustin telling Eddie's uncle about him, oh my gosh, more tears. Elle reuniting with Hopper, oh my goodness, the tears are not over yet. It's just crazy. And you're at the edge of your seat with an amazing sequence where a version of Running Up That Hill is playing, as like all of our heroes are down, about to die, and then but then they rise up above it. Nancy walking out, shooting Vecna with a shotgun is just epic. Hopper slaying a Demogorgon with a sword is just epic. This is just so amazing. And then I didn't even talk about my favorite scene in television, being the Running Up That Hill scene in episode 4 of this season, with Max. Well, the whole episode is great too, with her worrying about her death the entire time. We get that sequence where she rises up into the air. She thinks she's gonna die, but her friends are able to bring her back, save her as they scurry around to get her favorite song, put her headphones on. She hears the song, sees her friends, and runs up that hill to get to them, saving her life, getting away. And like I said, I feel like the acting in this scene is just so perfect, because like I completely bought into the fact that this trio was scared of losing their friend, and also they're pairing all my favorite characters together, which was awesome to me, just because, like I said, Steve, Dustin, Max, my favorites, and they're a team in this season, which probably makes me love this season even more. That was great, and there's other great moments throughout this. Like this, to me, they went full blockbuster with this season, and as someone who loves blockbusters, I loved this season. And even talking about it and thinking about it now, I'm thinking I should have put this 1. Why did I not put this 1? But it's too late now. I already said what I said, because that means that number 1 is Stranger Things 1. This is another probably perfect season of television. I cannot think of any flaws really with this season. I mean, I guess you could argue there's a bit, it's maybe shouldn't need to be as long, but even then, I don't care. They did such an amazing job with their opening of first getting intrigued, like what happened at this lab, this monster out there that killed this guy, and then we jump right into our characters, and they do such an amazing job at making me love these characters immediately. And then when Will goes missing, it's just like, oh my goodness, what's going on? It's a really creepy, get your heart pumping sequence when he is taken, and then that gives us an emotion and an urgency throughout the whole season, not knowing if he's dead or alive. It brings us multiple heartfelt and heart-wrenching moments that may have brought some tears, with Joyce and Jonathan worrying about him. Like, I think I teared up multiple times throughout this season, not just at like big moments, but because of the Joyce and Jonathan's reaction to Will being missing and not knowing what happened to him. And then like when they find the fake body and they believe he's dead, just the reactions and the possibility of him being dead is just heart-wrenching and brings even more tears, which is great. This is the season that I feel like does the best job at putting you at the edge of your seat, making you feel goosebumps. With, like I said, when Will goes missing, I think they do that again with the scene with the phone, where the phone rings, Joyce answers, we just hear breathing and scary noises, and the phone short circuits. I thought that was great. The iconic scene now of the Christmas lights, whether you're talking about the scene that actually gave me goosebumps when I first saw it, where she's got the bundled lights and she's like, are you alive? Flash once for yes, twice for no. It flashes once. Are you safe? Flash 1. Flash 2. No. Goosebumps. And then obviously the scene that I feel like is even more iconic with Christmas lights, where she strings them up and puts letters on the wall, and we get that awesome scene where he's like, where are you? And he spells out right here, and then he spells out run, because here comes the Demogorgon. Amazing. They did such a great job at having me intrigued, because even though like I knew certain spoilers, like I knew that Hopper was surviving all the way, and I knew Will was going to survive all the way, they still did not. I was still at the edge of my seat, because I didn't know any of the answers to the mysteries. So I was just like, what is going on? What is the Upside Down? What is this Demogorgon? How is all this connected? And I thought it was just great. It's an amazing season of television that I honestly feel like everybody should watch, even if you don't want to watch all the seasons. Like, just watch Stranger Things 1, and then they did such a great job at ending it too, that they could have ended Stranger Things after this one season. I'm glad they didn't, because we got Stranger Things 4, and I really enjoyed all the other seasons too. But yeah, this is amazing. I love it. And yeah, to me, Stranger Things 1 and 4 are some of the best seasons of television out there. You should definitely at least watch those ones if you have not seen the show. But if you haven't, I don't know why you're watching this, because I just spoiled everything for you. You're welcome. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for taking time to watch this video. If you liked it, please hit like if you want to see more. Please hit subscribe. If you want to hear me talk about each episode individually and tell you how much I love it and why I love it even more in more detail, if you go check it out, I've reviewed all 5 seasons episode by episode, and I also broke them down into volumes too. So like Stranger Things 4's got 2 videos and Stranger Things 5's got 3, which is a good thing, because those videos end up being super long even though they're broken down into volumes. So definitely go check those out, please, if you want more of my thoughts. thank you for watching. If you stuck around this long, thanks. And this is kind of like the end of our journey, because I've been rewatching I rewatched the season and then reviewed it, and I did that until we hit season 5. Now we rank the seasons, and I don't know if this will be officially the end of our journey, because I kind of want to do like a top 10 episodes. We'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. But if not, thank you for watching Stranger Things with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.